Everybody, good evening or good morning, whatever. It's pretty early. Wanted to hop on here again with you guys here for a little bit. Let me bring my stream up real quick so I can actually see everything. Alrighty. Yeah, I told you guys we're going to go back live at 11, but it's a little bit late. But it's all good. I mean, we're here to give an update. What's up, Alex? Good to see ya. Hope you are doing well. We're just starting here, so gotta get everything all prepped, all set up here. I think we're good though. So we got new updates on the storm. What's up, Beth? Good to see ya. We got new updates on the storm. Right now it is a tropical storm here. Sustained winds of 50. Central low down to 1,003 millibars. Now the track has apparently shifted a little bit west. What's up, Turbo? Been a while since I was here. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so it is supposed to become a hurricane here. Pretty much on the evening of the 25th. That's what the Hurricane Center has. So we still do have. I don't think they changed the watches or anything. Here, let me double check on that. We'll have to look. I don't think they did, but we shall see. But yeah, we definitely need to start preparing. You know, if you're out there by Jamaica, out there by Dominican Republic, Haiti, even southern Cuba, should really start to monitor it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they did not change anything on the watches or warnings here. You can see we still do. Ignore my dirty monitor. I really need to clean it. Actually, I had this outside for a little bit. This monitor, it was in a shed. But anyways, we do have Haiti here in the hurricane watch. We also have tropical storm watches in effect for Jamaica. So that's the cue that we need to start preparing. We definitely need to start watching the storm here. You know, even start preparing for it. You know, prepping it early is very important. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty still with this storm. I mean, it could really still do anything, but it's not super far out, to be honest. So definitely is a bit concerning. Now, rainfall wise, let's see, do we have any new updates? It doesn't look like we have any new. Actually, you know what, I think we did get a new update, but nothing much has changed on it. Here, I'm getting comfortable here. Kind of in a bad position. But yeah, southern Dominican Republic, we're supposed to get like possibly 8 to 12 inches of rain out there. You can see on the southern side in that orange, that equivalents to 8 to 12 inches, 200 to 300 millimeters. Look at this area out here, north of Aruba, out in the water, of course, could see 20 to 30 inches of rain. It's crazy. So yeah, definitely got to watch this one pretty closely. We're going to dive into models. Let's see, Melissa. Yeah, 18 UTC is out now, so got some new data. Okay, so Melissa gradually strengthens. It looks like it's going to really start to pick up according to this model right around the 24th. It does have that storm. It does have that storm like right between Haiti and Cuba and Jamaica. Like, wow, literally, look at that eye. That's crazy. I mean, right between the islands here. That would definitely be pretty impactful. What's up, Rock? Good to see ya. Do I like bluegill fishing? I haven't been in a minute, but yeah, fishing's, I enjoy it. But yeah, so HWRF definitely is pretty aggressive. Let's show you the HMON here. HMON. Wow, dude. The latest HMON gets down to 926 millibars, which, remember, this is one model, one take, so, you know, don't immediately assume the worst, but definitely a pretty aggressive run there. But yeah, the biggest thing here is that HMON has it going south of Jamaica. This is one take, remember, and there's a lot of takes, there's a lot of disagreement still on where it's going to go, so it could go a totally different path than this. But HMON wants it to go pretty far south of Jamaica. That's actually a significant westward trend since yesterday, or earlier today, actually. What's up, Morgan? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. So we got HAFSA. Yep, picking up quite a bit of strength. HAFSB. Yeah, it seems like the HAFSA and B models have the thing going further west here. Here, oh, I did not mean to do that. Let's go check out the spaghetti models here. Oh, wow. Here, let me move this for you guys. Look how much disagreement there is still, but it looks a little bit more west since earlier's update that we did. Wow. But yeah, you can just see, this is the spaghetti model. You see they're literally all over the place. You got some models having the system go west. You got some models having it kind of pull to the north and go northeast. There is so much uncertainty right now. I will tell you this, though. The intensity guidance has significantly gone up, which, you know, I even mentioned in my last stream. I would not be surprised if that happened. Due to the fact that, you know, the storm is not going to really have too many limitations, you know, developing, because we have, like, no wind shear. That's what's causing the system to basically just stay still and sit in one spot. Yeah, we got those really warm sea surface temperatures, 30 degrees Celsius waters out there. And on top of that, we got a lot of moisture. And those are the three main ingredients that you need, and we got them all. So a little bit concerned about that. Would not be surprised if the system does undergo some rapid intensification episodes where it really picks up strength at a very quick rate. You know, I'm a little bit concerned about that. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, I'm definitely a little bit concerned about that. You know, I do think that could be a bit of a possibility. I mean, there's really not much holding this system back, to be honest with you. I mean, it's, yeah. What's up, Joe? Good to see you. Oh my God, I forgot this guy was a YouTuber. You probably don't remember me. I watched you when Hurricane Ian hit Florida and Carolinas. Well, it's good to see you, man. Good to see ya. Welcome back. Let's see here. Okay, let's keep politics out of here, y'all. Not a place for politics. Just for weather updates. Jason says, then there's Jamaica. Yeah, Jamaica definitely needs to watch this pretty closely. All right, let's look at the sat view. Earlier, it was still pretty disorganized. It actually looks a little bit better here. A lot more heavier deep convection towards the center. Convection was a little offset to the east of the center here, but now it's looking a little bit better. Yeah, definitely convecting pretty well. But yeah, Jamaica does need to watch this very closely. So if any of you guys know anybody who lives out there in Jamaica, they need to start preparing for this. Same thing with Haiti too. You know, like I mentioned, Haiti actually has a hurricane watch in effect here, you know, southern Haiti. Same thing for, let's see here, same thing for Jamaica overall. So, Jamaica me hungry. Yeah, dude. I had a nice steak earlier. I was on the grill. Oh, dude, it was so good. D, thank you so much for gifting a membership. I appreciate that. That's really sweet of you, my friend. Thank you for helping us out and for gifting that membership. That is greatly appreciated. Congrats, Beth, who got it. Thank you so much, D. That's really, really nice of you. All right, here's some more data, y'all. This is the latest GEFS. So basically the GFS model. This is just their members. Still, you know, quite a significant amount of members have this thing eventually clocking northeast. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But there is a little bit of growing support, though, with the system possibly going a little bit further west here. You can see some models or some members actually have the system going towards the Yucatan. And then, of course, the rest of them have it kind of going up. Now, I will tell you this. The majority of models showed it doing this scenario, you know, going up, you know, and out to sea. I'm seeing more supports of the system go further west. I just want to point that out. So we will have to see how that plays out. D says you're very welcome. That's really, really sweet of you, my friend. Thank you so much. Let's see here. You seriously thought I'd hit 100K? Started watching when I was at 1K. Well, I'm glad to have you here, man. Yeah, I mean, we're on the stretch. I mean, we're trying to get to 100K. I think one day we will. You know, we're at 31,000. Still a lot more subscribers than I thought I'd ever have. And I'm very thankful for you guys. Now's actually a good time to say, if you're not subscribed, consider it. You know, we can keep you guys up to date. But yeah, one of my life goals is to get a play button. So I'm hoping to maybe one day get that. I think that'd be really, really cool. Yeah, definitely very, very thankful for you guys. But thank you. But it's good to see you again, Joe. Hope you're doing good, man. But anyway, so here's the GEPS models. You know, the members here. You can see some still have it going west, but ultimately shift out to sea. You know, there's just so much disagreement right now. It's honestly crazy how much there is a disagreement right now, you know, over the next couple of days. So, you know, we're going to need to watch it. Obviously, we do need to be prepared. Let's see here. The hurricanes don't want to hit the USA. They really don't. Nah, this year it's been very quiet for the U.S. in terms of tropical activity. I don't think a single tropical cycle. Actually, I think there was one out by North Carolina earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember, but we definitely haven't had any significant ones that's impacted the U.S. We had a couple, or maybe it was the one that came really close to hitting North Carolina, but ultimately didn't. Anyways, here, let's go ahead and close out of my radar here. But yeah, so we'll definitely watch it. You know, we'll definitely keep an eye on it. But yeah, I wanted to hop on here for a while for you guys tonight. So we're not heading off or anything yet, but like I said, we got a new update coming, or we just had a new update come through about an hour ago. Really nothing significantly has changed since the previous assessment. You know, we're still pretty much the same here. You know, we do got that tropical storm tropical storm watch for Jamaica. Once again, basically means that, you know, tropical storm conditions are possible in the near future. So now would be a good time to start preparing. Make sure you have, you know, non-perishable food. Make sure you have water, you know, medicines, all that stuff. Put it in your safe spot. Now, honestly, I'm going to tell you this. This is what I think. I would not be surprised if those hurricane watches get issued for Jamaica. With the latest trend in the storm shifting westward, I do think if that trend continues, we could have hurricane watches for Jamaica. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. There's still a lot of things that can change, but I would not be surprised if you know, those watches, those tropical storm watches, get upgraded to hurricane watches, just based off the latest trend here. So we'll have to see what happens. The only two that were in, you see, Alaska, Hawaii, otherwise U.S. got rain, riptides, but not directly to the U.S. Yeah, I know we had that really close call, you know, overall. I was out there by the Carolinas, but then that significant shift to the east happened. It was that storm with the Fujiwara. I forgot what name that one was. Joe says, can I ask you this? I know I'm safe from hurricanes, but does East Tennessee have a lot of tornadoes? So anytime soon? No. I mean, we're going to have to start watching the weather here soon, but there is no imminent danger for you. There's no storms that are coming that's, you know, a big significant issue or anything like that, so I wouldn't worry about it. I do want to show you guys this, though. You know, I was actually going to mention this in the stream. I think now would probably be a good time to, you know, actually mention it here with y'all. So in the models lately, there's been a bit of support. You can see this low developing right around the 24th. So we're going to have to watch that. We'll see what that does, see what that materializes. But there's another system following right behind it right around the 27th and 28th. Now, the reason I want to mention this, even though it's 144 hours out, which is, in my opinion, pushing it a little bit, but you can see how much support there is. Now, you can see the previous run before that. You can see the system still there. Each frame you see is a model before, or model run before. So the last several GFS runs, I mean, we're talking days worth of GFS model runs. You can see that there is, continuous support on that system there. So we'll definitely watch it. We'll see what happens. That might be a system that we need to watch for. I mean, it becomes more common during the winter and fall months here because, you start introducing cold air back into the country, right? So you get these cold air masses that shoot through the country. They start to bring down a lot of cool air from up north, and then you start to get a lot of that moisture and warmth starting to pull back up from the Gulf, and then you get those, thermodynamic clashes again. You get those, severe weather events that set up. So we're going to have to watch it. I think by the end of the later portion of the month, I mean, we're already kind of late October, which is crazy, how fast it became, But, towards the end of the month, I think we're definitely going to need to watch this pretty closely. It could be something that, that we need to look out there for. So we'll see what happens. What's up, James? Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Let's see here. Joe says it's supposed to be in the 30s in the morning next week. Yeah, that's the thing, is that these systems really love to bring down some cold air here. Let's take a look at those temps, actually. We'll bring up the GFS here. So yeah, we have a little bit of a cool down coming up here. You can actually see for the morning tomorrow. Actually, hold on a minute. I think I'm in the previous run here. Let's go back a little bit. Yeah, I was a little bit behind there on the models. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm just losing my mind. Sorry about that. So anyways, tomorrow morning, you can see that a lot of the country is going to be in the 30s and 40s for the most part. Definitely that fall-like weather is coming in here pretty hot. The morning of the 23rd, maybe some freezing up in the upper Midwest starting to come down. We got some cooler air coming in, so, we'll have to see. Especially if that other system happens, right around the 28th we were talking about, that could really bring down some more cooler air. So we'll just watch it. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. Surely nothing in Missouri, right? So as of right now, no. And one important thing to look at is what the Storm Prediction Center has, and they currently do not have any days in the risk for severe weather. So it is obviously a system that we'll watch. It just has not been noted as a big concern yet from the SPC. So we still have, that to happen. Although I will tell you, Thursday, we do have a little bit of a threat for severe weather out by Texas, New Mexico, and, of course, a little bit of southwestern central Oklahoma. It's a little too early to tell the exact risks here. Tornadoes, hail, winds. It's, day 3. It's a little early to tell, but anyways. But yeah, we'll definitely watch SPC, and we'll definitely see what happens with that overall. But anyways, hopping back to the models for Melissa. Obviously, that's kind of the main reason we went live here tonight. So once again, this is the satellite view. This is Melissa, currently a tropical storm. Not really much has changed, like I mentioned, since the last assessment. We are still sustaining 50-mile-per-hour winds. Our central low is down to 1,003 millibars. Movement has slowed down a bit, actually. We're moving west now at 13 miles per hour. The center is somewhere in here. You can kind of see the convection is somewhat offset on the eastern side. It's still not perfectly, symmetrical or whatever, but it's trying. It's looking a little bit better here overall. So anyway, so that's that. We'll definitely be monitoring this, and we'll definitely keep an eye on it. But yeah, it does look a little bit better since yesterday. Once again, spaghetti models, there's a lot of disagreement here. We got a lot of things that a lot of models are not very happy right now. You can see, the next 24 hours even, where the system ends up is a pretty big gap. I mean, that's at least 50 miles, I'd say. So definitely a pretty big gap even within the next 24 hours of where the storm's going to be. So there's a big question mark there, especially once we work out to like that 3-day margin. you know, that 3-4 day margin, you can see how there's a huge spread. This is actually the hours, by the way, these numbers, if you're wondering. So 48, that's 48 hours out. Yeah, I mean, some models even have the system farther advanced in, you know, shorter amount of time than others. So, you know, it's a big timing thing. It's a big, you know, where the thing's going to end up timing thing. It's just crazy. There's just so much uncertainty here. But, you know, you can see these are the main hurricane models. You know, some of them go to the west here. That's actually a newer trend, I will tell you that. It seems like more models on the latest run have the system going further west than the previous assessment. And of course, you know, we still do have a couple of models that has the system ultimately kind of shooting out to sea, but they're very, very spread. I mean, you can see some as far west as central Cuba, and some as far east as almost Dominican Republic. So, yeah, definitely a big spread on that. So there's a lot of uncertainty with the track of the storm, also the timing too. I mean, everything is just uncertain. I'll tell you what, this is a very difficult storm to forecast. This is one of those nightmare storms where basically it's moving so slow that even a little gust of wind can really steer the storm in a different direction. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, the system is definitely a hard one to forecast, you know, with all the guidance we have. I mean, there's just so much uncertainty here. So anyways, but yeah, you can see the spaghetti models. This is in terms of intensity now. You can see gradual intensification is expected with majority of the models. System will even likely become a major hurricane far down in time. Hurricane Center has not noted on that yet, but I would not be surprised if the system you know, becomes more significant on the Hurricane Center's page here in the next few days. You know, definitely gonna watch it. Is Aruba safe? Yeah, so the system is now past Aruba. Aruba is gonna be okay, yes. Yeah, the system is gonna be a bit of a problem, mostly for like Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, maybe even the Bahamas. You know, we'll just have to see. You know, all those areas will likely be affected. There's a lot of the Caribbean, the Western Caribbean, you know, Central Western Caribbean that's kind of under the risk here with the storm. But, you know, there's just so much uncertainty that, you know, we don't know where the thing's going to go. We don't know how strong it's going to be. It's just, there's so much disagreement in the models, you know, because the system stalls. I mean, it just slows down. It just stops moving. Models have a really hard time on picking up on systems that don't move. You know, and they're so easy to move around. It's just crazy. So I would expect significant changes in the forecast here, at least over the next couple of days while we learn some more data. We'll probably have the hurricane hunters flying it soon. I don't know when they're going to do that. That will actually enable us a little bit more data of the storm, which could help us, you know, determine where the storm could go. Because, you know, got the NOAA hurricane hunters or the hurricane hunters, even if it's Air Force or NOAA. You know, they'll fly in the storm, they'll do some data, they'll collect some data, you know, drop sondes and, you know, flight level data, stuff like that. And then they'll actually plug them into the hurricane models, and, you know, that'll kind of give us a little bit more of advancement here. Let's see here. Jill says, thanks. Yeah, no problem. You're very welcome. Joe says, another question. Are tornadoes more likely in the winter or summer for East Tennessee? Definitely not the winter. Probably definitely more towards the summertime. Yeah, you know, because it's a little too cold for that there during the winter usually. And I mean, unless you have like some, you know, big significant, you know, northerly advection from the Gulf or something like that, and you bringing up a lot of moisture, sometimes you can get it. But you got to remember though that tornadoes and stuff like that can happen any time of the year. It's just more common for you, probably sometime in the summertime. Anyways, but yeah, so that's that. Here, let's hop back into models here. We're going to take a look back at these main models. So looking at the HWRF, this is the 18 UTC run here. This is the latest run that we got available to us. So, you know, this run has changed quite a bit since the last run. You know, HWRF has the system rapidly strengthening, actually has the system working its way out there by Haiti, you know, coastal Haiti there, possible landfall. And it has the system kind of just narrowing right between Jamaica. I mean, you can see right here, this is Jamaica. You know, this is Cuba, this is Haiti. So it kind of sandwiches its way in between, you know, these islands here. So, you know, definitely got to look out for that. That's within the next 126 hours. When you have a system that's potentially this strong with how much uncertainty we have, it makes things a little bit more dangerous because it's just so hard to tell, where these systems are going. Whenever you have a system that is stalling, it'll allow for it to easily be moved, even by the slightest of wind currents. So, it could really, really change up. So, like I said, just don't be surprised if there's significant changes in the forecast over the next couple of days, while the models and everything kind of works this thing out here. But anyways, let's see, the highs right now is in the 50s, low 38. Yeah, no thanks. It's a little bit chilly. Yeah, even me in Florida here, I'm cold in the 60s anymore. It's terrible. All right, let's see. HMON, the Haman model. Actually, we got a new model rendering. This is the 18 UTC, though. This one has actually a little bit of a different approach. So here's Jamaica. This system actually has a system going further west, just passing just to the south of Jamaica. So, you can already tell just by those two models how much they disagree. Not necessarily just in the path, but also the strength, because HMON actually has a system getting down into maybe the 920 millibars, which there's not a whole lot of support on that right now, so I really wouldn't assume the worst, but obviously prepare for the worst. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Joe says you wear long sleeve shirt in the 40s, dude. You wear shorts in long sleeve shirt, dude? I would die. I would actually be dead. Let's see, it's 48 degrees up here in Pittsburgh right now. I don't even have any heat. You Florida boys wouldn't last. You know what? It's crazy because, I grew up in Virginia. I lived up in Virginia. I lived a part of Kentucky as well for most of my life. I've only lived in Florida for, I've lived here 2 years, but I've been here during the last 3 winters. I was here the entire winter the previous year before that. So I've acclimated to the weather down here. I used to be, in my older days, I used to, for sure. But anyways, let's see here. Send some of that rain to North Texas. A lot of us need it. It's crazy. Here, let me actually bring up the drought monitor for y'all. I do want to look at that, actually. We'll bring up the them drought conditions because, yeah, it's definitely been pretty dry here lately. Yeah, I haven't been deleting anybody's comments. I don't know why y'all are saying that. Anyways, yeah, let's hop over here to the drought monitor. It's definitely been very, very dry. Yeah, look at this. A lot of the Midwest has been super dry, especially out there by like St. Louis. It looks pretty dry out there. Mid-Atlantic, bits of the Northeast here. Yeah, a lot of us out here are definitely very dry. We can use it. Definitely could. Let's see. But anyways, yeah, so hopefully we'll get that soon. Let's see here. Chad says, why in USA? We now have European models and USA models. They never agree with each other. They can. Right now, I don't think they're in too much agreement, but really no model is in too much of agreement right now. Because of the slow movement of the storm here. But, if you're just talking generally, I have seen GFS and Euro be pretty neck and neck with each other before. They're both great models, but you should never rely on a single one. Like, here's GFS here. These are global models, by the way. A little bit different than Hurricane models. Hurricane models are more high-res. They are more focused on the hurricane, and global models are more focused on the movement of all these complex systems. But yeah, you got GFS. Take this with a grain of salt, but GFS has a system going out there kind of near Haiti here. Let's see here, Euro has a system. Yeah, look at that. Dude, that's crazy. Basically you can see here that Euro just has that system stalling. You see that? It just sits there. It comes right up between Jamaica and Haiti and it just slowly backs off. Huge difference there. And it's crazy. It just kind of sits there and picks up strength. Because we do have ourselves, you know, a lot of really warm waters out there. Like I mentioned, 30 degrees Celsius waters, very warm. Pretty deep too, actually. You know, the waters are pretty warm, fairly deep down too, because, you know, we're late in the season. And, you know, the sun's been beating on the, you know, are beaming down on the waters for a while. Allowed for a lot of that to heat up quite a bit. You know, plenty of moisture. Also, we have, you know, no wind shear, obviously. At least no horizontal wind shear. You know, to really rip apart that storm. You know, horizontal wind shear would really carry away that storm, but you can just see, I mean, it just kind of sits there. It's crazy. Let's see here. Weather is incredibly complex. When we actually get a model that can accurately predict it, we'll have reached hyper intelligence. Yep, that's very true. You know, there's so much microphysics going on that macro models cannot pick up on. So, you know, little interactions, I mean, tiny to the molecular scale that occur, models cannot pick up on. You know, models have a pretty bad resolution, if you think about it. I mean, the best models out there, I'm pretty sure, only have like 1 kilometer resolution, which, that's pretty high res. But yeah, and then you got global models, which is like, I think like 12 kilometer, I'm pretty sure. Anyways. The model you run looks like southeast. Joe, no, you know, right now, you can, oh, is this what you're looking at? No, this is just a little low that develops over the southern plains. You know, that's actually a system that we'll be watching too. We'll have to see what happens with it. I don't know if it's going to be able to bring enough moisture or, you know, instability really to the table for any severe weather, which we'll watch. I mean, obviously SPC doesn't have anything right now on it, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, but that's not a hurricane, though. I want to let you know. Here, let's look at some other models here. We'll look at the CMC. It's good to look at some other models here. So CMC, okay, yeah, CMC has a system going far west. Wow. Still ultimately shifting northeast, though, you know, because we do get this ridge of high pressure that builds in across the southeast, kind of shielding us. Is Florida still in play? Well, I mean, there's not a lot of guidance. There's really none that I've seen that suggests Florida could be under a big concern. I mean, obviously, we'll watch it. You know, there is a lot of uncertainty with the storm, so there's a lot of things that can change with it. But there is no current danger for Florida. There is no models that are really suggesting the thing even getting anywhere near Florida. I mean, there's a couple, but majority of the hurricane models, as you can see here, are well all over the place. You know, this is more of a direct concern for like Jamaica right now, for like Haiti, you know, possibly Dominican Republic, Cuba, maybe even the Bahamas. You know, if that system does ultimately steer out, then yeah, for sure, it could be a big problem for them too. So, anyways, Steve says Florida is safe this season. Steve, you don't know that, dude. I mean, we still have another month of hurricane season left. You know, we can't forecast out about a month. You know, it's, I mean, climatology-wise, maybe, but, you know, down to the specific system, we cannot forecast that far out. So there's no way of telling. You know, there has absolutely been some late storms here that's happened in the past. So, you know, who's to say that won't happen? You know, so never let your guard down. Even if things look all good, never let your guard down. All right, so here's the hurricane models. This is in terms of intensity, though, instead of the track. This shows us the strength at what given hour. The TS is tropical storm. You know, you got Cat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, there's a lot of agreement here, actually, that between 96 to 132 hours out, we undergo some pretty good strengthening. So with that being said, we'll have to see what happens there. I mean, there's a lot of models that's actually been picking up on that, and you know, I believe that's after the point potentially in which, you know, there's some models that have that time frame when the system's going past the Bahamas, but it seems like the latest models, the hurricane models, have the system still basically between, like, you know, Jamaica, Haiti, whatever. It's so slow, it's barely going to be advancing at all, so it's just going to sit there and pretty much build up some intensity. Let's see here. Sean says, will Melissa make landfall? It's possible, but there's no given area right now, you know, due to the uncertainty that we have. So, Let's see here. Chad says I live in Connecticut. Little bad weather. But yeah, I mean, you guys can get some pretty crazy weather out there sometimes, you know, especially some of those nor'easters and stuff. Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys can definitely get pretty active with the weather, especially during the wintertime and stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so every once in a while, and every once in a blue moon, you know, you'll get a tropical cyclone up there, but, you know, like Sandy, for example. But anyways, but yeah, here's satellite view, guys. You know, once again, hopping back at the sats. You can see, I mean, we got some pretty good deep convection going on here. I mean, it's still a little disorganized. I mean, it is a tropical storm, like I said. But anyways, let's see. I would be glad to have a year off from hurricanes with Milton last year. Dude, Milton was crazy. I was actually, I was here in Lakeland during Milton. It's definitely pretty crazy. Yeah, that storm was, I believe, a Cat 2 when it went over towards Lakeland here. Whenever it went over Polk County. But we were in the northern Iowa of the storm. It was pretty wild. But, yeah, we had a little bit of damage here to the place, but we got that fixed. So, all is good. Hope everything is good over there as well. Jill says, thanks, Andrew. Of course, no problem. You guys are very welcome. By the way, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Let's see here. Any convective available potential energy in the system going through the southeast? Well, let me pull up the models here. Actually, I'm going to pull up COD meteorology models. Those are my favorite still for forecasting. Let's see here. Here, let's bring this over here. Good old COD. You know, I've used this site for 8+ years, probably. Okay. Here, let's bring up our Cape. HRRR is too far out to tell. You know, that's what I was saying. I do want to watch that other storm system that develops down here. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we do advect quite a bit of moisture. Also, yeah, a little bit of instability building in, you can see here. I'm assuming our dew points are going to be well in probably the 70s. Yeah, definitely could get pretty moist down there. Anyways, yeah, we'll have to watch and see what that system does. We'll keep an eye on it. Chad says, I see all those houses in Polish just get washed away. Yeah, it's crazy. Waste of time. Yeah, honestly, it's a big risk. You know, whenever you do move to the coast like that, you've got to keep in mind that there's going to be hurricanes and stuff like that. I mean, just generally moving in the tropics anyways. I mean, like, if you live in Florida, live along the Gulf Coast, I mean, you guys got to be thinking of hurricanes in mind, because we do get them quite a bit. Florida just kind of sticks out there too, so we get them a lot. This year, not so much, but, you know, typically we usually have at least one per year. You know, in some cases many, like last year. But anyways, you lived in Florida half your life, only got hit by one major cane. If you don't live in a flood-prone area on the coast, it's not that much. Yeah, you know, the storms really significantly die down the further you go inland. Yeah, hurricanes are mostly a coastal concern. I mean, don't get me wrong, they cause a lot of problems inland too, but most of the concerns are out there, you know, along the coastlines, you know, because you got the rip currents, you got the big waves, you know, you got all that problem. All that water coming in. Yeah. Let's see here. I do not, Joe. Let's see. East Coast normally, did you mean doesn't get the worst? Especially Cape Canaveral. I don't think I've ever seen a system go out that far, or that I've paid attention to hit Cape Canaveral directly. I'm sure it's probably happened at some point in history, but anyways, a little bit off topic. But yeah, so with this guy, like I said, y'all, currently still tropical storm, sustained 50 miles an hour, central low down to 1,003 millibars. So, you know, we'll definitely watch it. It has shifted a little bit west here. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, it could be a new trend. You know, the system just slows down so much. It's just so hard to tell what's going to happen here. But Anyways, but all right, everybody. Well, I'm probably going to roll off here now. Just wanted to hop on. It's getting a little late here. I need to get to bed soon. So just wanted to hop on and give you guys a little bit of an update. I told you guys I would. A little bit late. My bad. I had to, cook some dinner. Actually, I grilled out at steak, which was really, really good. So anyways. But yeah, if you guys have any questions before I roll off, yeah, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be here for you guys. We'll probably head off here in a few seconds. But if there's any questions you guys might have on the weather, let me know. We're here for you guys. I want to make sure you guys are staying safe, weather up to date, weather updated, and stuff like that. What's the snow looking like? I made a winter forecast, Joe. Go on my main page, go to videos, and scroll down until you see winter forecasts. I explain it there. I'm not going to get into the winter stuff right now. Yeah, we're mostly just keeping it up to the tropics and stuff like that. Let's see here. Night, Andrew, thank you. Yeah, no problem, dude. Have a good night yourself. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And, once again, everybody, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'm not going to hold you to it, but it could be a really good thing for you sometime. It could do you very well in keeping you guys updated. And, we'll keep you guys up to date with everything. Don't you worry. See, PC says, thanks for the forecast. No problem, dude. I got you. I got you guys. But yeah, we'll continue to update you guys. We'll do another updates tomorrow. And we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Get some good sleep. Have a great day to work, school, whatever you're doing tomorrow. And we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. See ya later on.